Hey everyone, Ryan Young, Kama Jiu Jitsu. Hope you're doing well. Let's answer a question. So this was in response to Gracie Jiu Jitsu versus traditional Jiu Jitsu. Traditional in quotes, right? Let's see. At TudoGeo7061. Thank you for the question, by the way. Not question, but the comment. In Romania, I used to visit a Jiu Jitsu dojo and watch them spar. Strikes, kicks, weapons, plus the judo stuff. Throws, arm bars, chokes, and if I recall correctly, also the ground techniques. A pretty well-rounded art. I look at BJJ today and all I see is ground stuff. Yeah, chokes and stuff, but on the ground. No strikes, no kicks. This is actually a good one because this kind of talks about what I've been telling you guys for years, that just because something is called Jiu Jitsu doesn't mean we're talking about the same things. Now, I'm not saying that one is Jiu Jitsu and one is not Jiu Jitsu. But what I am saying is that, there is a difference between Gracie Jiu Jitsu and regular Brazilian Jiu Jitsu. Yes, Gracie Jiu Jitsu is a form of Brazilian Jiu Jitsu. It is from Brazil. Technically, it's from Japan. Yeah, all right. But then people say, well, where is Japanese Jiu Jitsu from? Technically it could be from India. I don't know. It really doesn't matter. But Gracie Jiu Jitsu is a brand, is a style of Jiu Jitsu that was founded by the Gracie brothers, right? Elio, Carlos Sr., George, and I can't remember all the rest. But there were 5 of them. But today, because people like rolling around the ground. I mean, think about it. That's instinctive, right? When we were kids, or boys at least, when they would kind of get into roughhousing and tussling, they end up on the ground and they're grappling with each other. It is natural. So when you have somebody coming into jiu-jitsu and they're wanting to learn jiu-jitsu, they're going to do what they prefer to do. Just like I did a video also on gi versus no gi. And people will tend to do gi or tend to do no gi. They don't always do both like we require here at Kama Jiu Jitsu. And the reason why we require it is because we don't want people to be short skilled, meaning lacking skill in one part of this beautiful art that we call Gracie Jiu Jitsu. So we want all our students to learn everything, which is why in every class we do one part self-defense. And that self-defense could be anything. It could be closing the distance when somebody's punching you. It could be basic knife defense skills. It could be, hair grabs. It could be the bully push. It could be, or we would call the bouncer push sometimes. It could be the bully pin. It could be, headlock escapes, bear hug escapes, clothing grab escapes, all those stuff. Part of the self-defense, part of the stuff that you might come into just walking around, just minding your own business and somebody hassling you, right? And then the next part about it would be the gi, stuff that you do with the gi on, and then the grappling, and then grappling with no gi. So what this person was talking about was how in Romania went to visit a jiu-jitsu school and they were doing everything, which is what we do, right? And that's really the way you want to do it. You want to learn the whole art, but some of it you won't prefer. You won't like it. You go, oh man, we got to do no-gi again, or oh man, we got to do self-defense again, right? So we have bred into our membership, and they're fully able to choose something different. If they want to just do gi only, there are other schools that do just gi only. If they want to do no gi only, same thing. If they want to do self-defense, then we have our premier membership and they can just do self-defense. And they can just do that. So it's really up to them. But for us, self-defense is the main reason for existence, And when people come to me and especially with kids, and I'll do a video on kids as well. Parents bring their kids because they want their kids to learn self-defense because kid might have gotten bullied in school. So, man, we gotta get our kid to get some skills to be able to protect themselves. And then 6 months into it, they message me and say, hey, I'm gonna have to pause my membership, or I'm gonna have to cancel my son's membership. And I'm like, Why? What happened? Oh, well, soccer season's coming up. Baseball season's coming up. Football season's coming up. Swim's coming up. So now that's going to take priority. I'm like, wait a minute. When you brought your son in, you said he was being bullied, and you brought him in because you wanted him to learn. Do you still want him to learn to handle those types of situations? Or is it only in the off season for baseball, football, right? That's something to think about, right? But yes, like this person said, this commenter said, jiu-jitsu should encompass everything. But now people are only doing ground stuff. And it's kind of evident when you watch matches where somebody who only did jiu-jitsu on the ground, who didn't learn how to even break fall, and didn't even learn how to fall to not get their head slammed on the ground with a nice throw, right? When they get picked up and thrown down. How do they stop that from happening? They just sit on their butt and play guard, okay? So if you're in a confrontation on the street, outside of a restaurant, bar, club, store, whatever, and somebody confronts you, you're just gonna sit on your butt and do like the old Homer Simpson thing, or I forget who it was in that show, but the guy said, all right, let's fight, and he goes and sits down on the ground like playing an open guard, said, come at me, bro, right? I mean, that is utterly hilarious, right? But people just want to do the fun stuff, which is fun to them, which is the grappling. So they'll just start sitting on their butt, right? Our kids program, they are not allowed to start on their butt. And with our adults, every once in a while, we try to make them start standing up. And the reason why we don't do it all the time is because nobody likes getting thrown. Even though we have suspended mats, even though on top of the suspension system, we have 4 inches of foam, right? We've got very cushy mats, so you can get thrown over and over and over and over and not fear getting injured, right? Most studios will have 1 5/8 inch mat, whether it be tatami or rollout mats on concrete, which getting thrown on, if you know how to fall like me and you've been doing it for decades, it's not that big a deal, right? But if you're just trying to learn the art, and every time you land on the ground, you land a little bit wrong, it's gonna hurt like crazy and you're not gonna wanna do it. So if I run a school and my whole living is predicated by the revenue I generate from the members I attract and keep, and they don't want to get thrown, or if they get thrown, they ache really bad the next day and don't come to jiu-jitsu. Well, what happens? They don't come tomorrow. They're not going to come Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. It gets to be a trend where they end up not coming to class at all, and then you get the call 2, 3, 4 months later, hey, Ryan, you know what? I'm not sure I really like it, and I haven't been coming for a while because I don't like getting thrown and I don't like landing. Well, I get it. Nobody likes that because it hurts. But it hurts because you're not doing it straight on concrete, but you're doing it on just 1 5/8 inch of foam on concrete. And when you land on a mat that's only 1 5/8 inch thick, right? A lot of these tatami mats are very firm, which means that when you really think about it, when you land on it, it might fall. It might compress by 1/8 of an inch, right? So it's not hard like concrete, but you don't get the full 1 5/8 inch when you land on the mat, right? You only get 1/8 of an inch compression, so it's still gonna hurt a little bit, right? So you end up not wanting to do it, and you end up only training from the ground. And then the instructor wants to make sure he keeps all his members happy, so he only has them start on the ground so they don't get hurt. Isn't jiu-jitsu supposed to be so that you don't get hurt when you get picked up and thrown on the ground? I mean, come on. If you've never practiced getting thrown on the ground, I mean, even if it's on mats in class, then if you actually get thrown on concrete, it'll hurt like a mofo, but at least you've fallen thousands of times on the mat. You can fall 1, 2 times on concrete and not get your head knocked out, right? Not getting hit on the concrete like this. Because your neck is now accustomed to keeping your head off the ground. But if you're not accustomed to it, then you're only going to train from the ground. And if you enter a tournament, you're going to go in and you're going to, slap, fist bump, and then sit on the ground, right? And that's what jiu-jitsu tournaments have come to a lot of times. The only times you see legit takedowns is when you have a wrestler on the mat. And a lot of good jiu-jitsu guys can't take a wrestler down to save their life, which means they get taken down, which means they have to play from their back. So of course, they're going to only play from their back, and they're going to try every scenario on how to win or how to sweep or how to take somebody's back after they, start on the ground on their butt. The most ridiculous thing I see is when you see jiu-jitsu guys sitting on the ground. They start the match, they sit straight down to the ground, and then they just want you to play in their guard. Right? The funny thing is when you have a wrestler stands up and says, I ain't doing that. Stand your ass back up, right? I want my 2 points, right? So, yes. So you made a great observation that in Romania, it was very well-rounded, right? And that's really the whole thing too, right? You want to be as well-rounded as you can given the time constraints that you have to learn your skills. So if you want to learn jiu-jitsu as self-defense, then find a school that when you go in and check it out, they're not only doing a 60-minute class, all of it on the ground, right? Go to a school where every class there's some aspect of self-defense, and there's aspects of takedowns, landing, transition while getting thrown, all that kind of stuff, which is important. And learn that kind of stuff, and you will get your eyes opened to what jiu-jitsu is supposed to be, not what it has become. Anyway, that's all I got for you guys. Come visit us at one of our academies. We've got Orange County, California. That is Kama Jiu-Jitsu Irvine. We've got Dallas, Fort Worth, Texas. That is Kama Jiu-Jitsu Dallas, Fort Worth. And you can also see us online at kamajujitsuonline.com. You'll also find, if you want some one-on-one time, you can hit me on my Clarity link, and we can just do a call, just you and I can go over all kind of stuff with you that will help you. Anyway, that's all I got for you. Take care. Happy training. Bye now.